This video is on document clustering, part of the Watson widget. Let me talk to you about what document clustering is, how it differs then in summation, and how do you interpret the results. It's effectively just a grouping of documents that a predetermined algorithm thinks are similar. Let me explain the algorithm here for a second. What we do is we go through and we grab all the word couplets in a document, meaning 2 words. So Tim Lee Healy is a word couplet because it has 2 words in it. And then we compare the couplet frequency in every document and group documents that have couplet frequencies similar. The point of the algorithm is to try to find all like subject matter documents. So the algorithm was developed to group together the abridged version of Moby Dick, the full version of Moby Dick, and the child's version of Moby Dick. Those are all meant to be in the same group via this algorithm. It has varying degrees of success. I found it fairly useful as a sort of a blunt instrument to quickly initially assess my data. But you'll find groups in it that make no sense at all. But then there are groups that are quite good. So I think it's a worthwhile tool. How does it differ then in summation? It doesn't. It's the same exact algorithm. The only difference is the way we present the results. I think it's a little bit more intuitive. Nonetheless, you can run it from either product, even FTK, and you should wind up with the same outcome. So let me go in and show it really quickly. All right, I'm logged into a case. Again, my predictive coding case where we have some reasonable data. I'm going to open up Watson, and I'm going to open up my facets. I'm already on the document clustering tab, but normally you'd open up to the cross-case analysis. You just have to move to the document clustering tab. We have already run predictive document clustering when we did initial processing. So if we come here and we look at the cluster groups, they're already populated. And because they're already populated, we do not need to run it. We could just click here and it will visualize these results, and we'll do that in a second here. But ultimately, it's the same thing as it was in summation, and all the information in the end is going to be right here. And I personally have used the clustering so much that I prefer to just look here. This is how I use it. I come here and I eyeball the results, and if I like results, I code them as a group. If I don't, I just discard them, whatever. But a lot of new users to the system find this fairly unintuitive. They don't like the huge list. And so we've developed the following visualization. Let me run it here. This is effectively exactly the same as this. And let me show you how it interacts with the grid to get you a sense for how you can use the visualization. So you pull up this, I can see, we can all tell it's basically a mess, but you can tell based on the size of the dots which are the larger clusters. And if you want to find out why a cluster is a cluster, you can click on it, and it will zoom into it. It'll show you the word couplets, and it will filter the grid accordingly. So now you can quickly do a sampling on these and say, hey, these are good. This is a good group, or this is a lousy group. In this case, it's actually quite a good group. You can see that they're all effectively exactly the same document. Now, that doesn't mean I necessarily want to it doesn't. I mean, there might not be any real value. These might all be junk documents, but nonetheless, they are appropriately grouped together. So we can ignore them all in one foul sweep, or we can code them, or whatever. You can always just click back on that group, and it will zoom back out, and then you can go in on another group, and it will do the same thing again, always filtering the grid. And you can read again the word couplets to see if you think this is a good word group. So that's effectively all there is really to show here. It's again the same stuff as it was before with the facets. Same algorithm, just a new visualization to help you sort of navigate it a little bit more intuitively. Let me run clustering. It's going to produce the same results we already have here because we've obviously already run it, but I want to show you what happens here. I'm going to run it, click run, and you can enter your percentage similar. Our friendly sort of job indicator pops up, and we can click on it and see we're running a predictive coding job. It's been submitted. Runtime is obviously 0. And it's going to take about a minute and a half to run. So I'm just going to be quiet and snip this part of the video out. So I'm just going to stop right here. Okay, you saw that it dropped off there and then said it had finished. And then there was a little flicker here. And that flicker was it redrawing the clustering. The only reason I really bothered to do that was in the event that you come here and you haven't yet run clustering, you can go ahead and run clustering and it will automatically draw it once it's done. There's no need to hit the refresh button. Finally, you can of course print this if you want to. It just prints, looks just like that, blown up to size, page size, and that's it. Hopefully you find it useful. Play around, see what you can get out of it. Thanks a lot.